Boy, did the principal bassoonist sweat through those opening bars. We were just crashing into each other the whole rehearsal. People playing during rests left and right. Many of us just didn't know what it should sound like. And I'm sitting in the bass section, an 18-year-old student ringer, realizing that I might be about to witness a complete orchestral meltdown. Welcome to my first encounter with Stravinsky's Rite of Spring. This is the second video in my series on why 1905 to 1914 is the decade that exploded the classical music rulebook. Last time we covered Strauss's Salome. Today we're talking about the decade's behemoth, a piece so notoriously difficult and different from everything written before, it's a wonder the orchestra didn't riot back in 1913.
A riot is an ugly thing.
This is a bass part from Leonard Bernstein's own hand-annotated score of the Rite of Spring from the New York Philharmonic's digital archives. All these vertical hash marks, penciled in by some of the best bass players on the planet, because the Rite of Spring is a rhythmic minefield. Stick around, because in a few minutes, you're going to experience this minefield for yourself with an interactive challenge. See these taped over sections? That's where the score was rebarred by music lexicographer Nicholas Slonimsky in 1921 to make Stravinsky's complex, frequently changing meters easier to navigate. In a 1984 note to Slonimsky, Bernstein wrote, "Every time I conduct Le Sacre, I bless your name." When even the legends need hacks and cheat sheets, you know the piece is complicated. Look, I know I teased it, but I'm not actually going to rehash the 1913 riot. YouTube's beaten that story to death. What matters is this. It took 16 years before anyone dared record this piece. 1929, 3 days in Paris, and yikes. But I love listening to this time capsule because it shows us just how ahead of its time the Rite of Spring was. It took another 20 years for orchestras to catch up to this music. Back to the original scene. In 1991, our local orchestra, the El Paso Symphony, had a new conductor for the first time in 17 years. This gentleman, Mr. Gürer Aykal, came in with an international resume and programming that was challenging. The EPSO was a tight-knit group. Most of the city's top music educators were members. And if you were one of their promising students, you tended to get invited to audition and play. It was great. But this was a group that historically performed mainstream classical, Mozart, Beethoven, Brahms, plus some pops and children's concerts throughout the year. A new, non-local conductor with worldwide experience was intimidating enough. It only got worse when we saw the Rite of Goddamn Spring on the fall program. Nobody thought we could pull it off. That first rehearsal was brutal, thick anxiety. Imagine the pressure on the principal bassoon with those iconic opening bars. So alone, so exposed.
Who's the unlucky man? We all love you, so that's the first thing.
You go to any Rite of Spring concert, and there's a certain tension in that moment. A collective holding of breath. But I mean, there were just lots of clams, turds, train wrecks. It was unfamiliar material, and as we packed up that night, nobody felt any better, that's for damn sure. But rehearsal 2? Different story. People had found recordings, practiced with tapes, marked up their parts to decode the mixed meter craziness. It was still rough, but we weren't crashing all the time. Rehearsal 3? Even better. And after the dress rehearsal, as I was packing up my bass, I'll never forget overhearing the principal cellist. Well, who'd ever thought we'd play Rite of Spring? And guess what? It was great! The audience loved it. Instant standing ovations at every performance. This piece taught me 4 things I've carried with me for the past 30 years. First, how to count. I mean, really how to count. The notes of the Rite of Spring aren't the hard part, it's the rhythm, being tight as a group. When you first encounter it, the rhythms seem arbitrary, but they're not. You have to find it, but there's
a groove to this stuff.
Which brings me to that challenge I promised. Pause this video right now. I mean it. Hit pause and get ready. I'm going to show you a section of one of the trickier parts, the sacrificial dance, and I want you to try to clap along. I'll do it with you. I'm rusty, so we're all in the same boat here. Okay? Ready? 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's not easy, right? After this, I promise you'll never listen to the sacrificial dance in the same way again. Second lesson. Change is good. New conductor, scary programming, and we rose to it. Third, musicians respond to challenges. Nobody wants to be the weak link, and not being that guy or gal is motivating for everyone in an orchestra.
Don't shake your head, you can do it.
And finally, it's a fantastic piece of music. One of the pieces in the repertoire that is quite simply above criticism. Cinematic before cinema existed. Accessible enough to be a gateway drug beyond mainstream classical, yet so intricate and layered that it never gets old. So when the El Paso Symphony, that tight-knit local group that didn't think they could pull this off, nailed it in concert, remember that principal cellist's reaction? Well, who'd ever thought we'd play Rite of Spring? That's the magic of this piece, and there is no better feeling than conquering something you thought was out of your league. It goes without saying that the Rite of Spring is a monumental work. Our friend Leonard Bernstein said it was the most important piece of music of the 20th century, but it also changes the people who play it. It certainly changed me. What's your favorite recording of the Rite? When did you first hear it, and how did you react? Have you played it? Let me know in the comments. I want to hear all about how it went down for you. Next time, we're scaling down from a 100-piece orchestra to just 88 keys. But the revolution continues. We'll be looking at one of the most astonishing Opus Ones ever written, Alban Berg's one and only piano sonata. Tune in to discover one of my fautes, plus how the best teachers have a knack for turning anxieties into solutions. Hell of a solution, right? The first few bars of this piece were my ringtone for about a decade, which should tell you everything about how I feel about phone calls. But it also represents the next evolution in our 1905 to 1914 journey, from Strauss's owie severed head kissy face opera to Stravinsky's Well, How's This for a Mind-Blowing Ballet, to Berg's Feeling Seen Makes Me Uncomfortable Sonata. 3 videos, 3 ways the rulebook exploded. You're not gonna wanna miss it. See you then.